Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
New this morning, we have a level 1 risk for severe storms across the northern part of the viewing area and level 2 in the south for tomorrow. We're going to walk you through a few sprinkles this morning on our chance for storms through the weekend.
You know, that severe weather system heading our way packed a punch in Houston. The recovery effort happening there after the storm brought winds upward of more than 100 miles an hour.
And the Carolina hurricane season is over. How fans are reacting after the team's playoff run comes to a heartbreaking end at PNC Arena. A lot of hearts were broken last night. The Canes they ended their season, but you know what? They have so much to be proud of.
They went there and did the thing.
They did. Thanks for joining us on your Friday morning. I'm Michelle McConaughey in for NH2.
And I'm Chris Lovingood in for Jeff Hogan. Let's get to meteorologist for Elizabeth Gardner, because Elizabeth, this weekend so many things are happening in the Triangle, but it's the weather we need to look out for.
You know, this time of year we can see those afternoon and evening storms, but so often the weather is so nice, temperatures feel good before it gets really hot. So a lot of folks like to have those events this time of year. We do have a couple little sprinkles here, just southwest of Rocky Mount, northwest of Wilson. Those will likely dissipate in the next hour or two. We're not going to see much out of that. Taking a look at Saturday, we have a level 1 and 2 risk for severe storms on Saturday. It's mainly going to be late afternoon and evening. So if you're headed out to any festivals for tomorrow, the earlier you can go, the better. But by mid to late afternoon, you need to be checking your WRAL app and set it to alerts so that you'll know when it's time to seek some shelter. Damaging winds, isolated tornadoes are possible, especially in those southern counties. You can see those southern counties are going to be Hope County, Cumberland, Sampson, and Wayne County. And then most of the remainder of the viewing area is in a level 1 risk. We do have storms in our forecast for this afternoon too, and I'll walk you through that in just a few minutes, and we will send it over to Ken. Of course, we have the potential for some thunderstorms Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so we'll check all 3 days. Coming up, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, at 6:01, we've got a quiet start to a Friday morning commute this morning in the capital city. All the major thoroughfares are delay-free this morning. 87, the Beltline, 540, not a problem to report. Let's go ahead and check the Bull City this morning. And all the major routes are extremely delay-free this morning. Nothing that's going to make you late. This is a live look at I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. Things are going to pick up in just a little bit, but for right now, no problems to report.
That's some good news. Thanks, Ken. Well, that powerful storm system headed our way, Elizabeth mentioned, has left at least 4 people dead in Houston. The storm packed winds of up to 100 miles an hour. At least 2 of the people who died were killed by falling trees. Houston's mayor is asking people to stay home today because of widespread power outages and debris in the roads. Nearly 1 million homes and businesses are without power. Emergency officials say it could take several days to get everything back up and running.
2 people were hurt during a shooting in Cumberland County. The sheriff's office says it responded to Charles Court, north of Fayetteville, if you're familiar. That was just before 6 o'clock last night. A person who was shot went to the hospital on their own, according to authorities, and that person had minor injuries. Another person who was hurt refused medical treatment. The sheriff's office did not specify whether that person had been shot, but no arrests have been made.
Thank you, Caniacs. That's the message from the Carolina Hurricanes as their season comes to an end. The New York Rangers are moving on after a 5-3 win over the Canes in Game 6 of their series last night. PNC Arena was rocking when Sebastian Aho scored midway through the second period to put the Canes up 3-1. But the Rangers, they turned it around and made a comeback in the third period. They scored 4 times in the period, taking the lead for good with just over 4 minutes left in the game. Heartbreak for Canes fans who see their team fall short in the series.
It looked like we were going to win 3-1. I don't know what happened.
They played hard. We didn't get the result we wanted, but they played hard. I'm proud of the boys.
A tough end to the season, but yes, they played hard. The Caniacs have a lot to be proud of and are now looking forward to next year.
Authorities say there's been drug activity on Glenwood South, and that's because they say a Raleigh firefighter and his wife are accused of running an elaborate drug trafficking operation there. Nicholas and Amanda Bannister on your screen here are facing dozens of charges. Agents from NC Alcohol Law Enforcement have not said which clubs they were selling drugs inside. Many bar managers who spoke with WRAL off camera said they're not surprised there's drug activity on Glenwood. A judge warned the Bannisters they could face a sentence of hundreds of years in prison. Nicholas Bannister is now on administrative leave from the Raleigh Fire Department.
Active shooter training could soon be required at UNC as part of a new emergency action plan after the shooting on campus last August. The new plan also includes upgraded security cameras as well as more frequent and clear alerts during an emergency. The changes come after the shooting that killed a faculty member on campus. UNC only released a summary of the plan. Officials say they will not release the entire report for safety reasons.
We are expecting a major economic announcement today to kick off one of this weekend's major festivals in the Triangle. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at the State Fairgrounds where this announcement comes as the Got to Be NC Festival gets started.
We're expecting to hear an announcement from the state's agriculture commissioner. That's supposed to happen a few hours from now at the start of the festival here at the fairgrounds. Take a look at this video from last year's festival. Today's announcement should be about agriculture's economic impact in our state. And of course, the Got to Be NC Festival is one of the year's biggest events that celebrates North Carolina's ag industry. It will feature ag displays, animal exhibits, and tons of food. More than 75 food and beverage vendors will be there from across North Carolina. Admission is free, but you will have to pay for rides. We'll keep you posted on what comes out of that announcement from the commissioner today, and the festival runs through Sunday. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
We're following breaking news in France. Police have shot and killed a man who appeared to be planning an attack on a synagogue, according to them. The French Interior Ministry said that an armed person was trying to set a synagogue in the city of Rouen on fire. Police say that he came at them with a knife and a metal bar. Rowen's mayor says that the entire city is, quote, bruised and in shock.
An advocate for people with disabilities is calling on lawmakers to modify a proposed ban on wearing masks in public. The legislation is now going to the State House for consideration. The group Disability Rights North Carolina wants the language in that bill to change to make sure people who need to wear a mask for health reasons can do so. This proposed ban is to help police crack down on protesters who wear masks to shield their identity. Sponsors of the bill say it would not be enforced against people wearing masks for health reasons, but critics are skeptical about that.
Fayetteville Technical Community College will hold its commencement ceremony today. More than 3,000 students will graduate this morning. The school will hold two separate ceremonies at the Crown Coliseum. James Sanders III, an FTCC communications instructor, will be the keynote speaker. And a funeral service will be held next week for Raleigh psychiatrist and philanthropist Assad Memandi. It will be at Christ Episcopal Church next Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Memandi passed away at the age of 89. His name appears on the Memandi Concert Hall that serves the North Carolina Symphony. He was also granted the state's highest civilian honor for his contributions to the arts in North Carolina.
Former President Donald Trump's hush money trial is nearing the end. Closing arguments are expected early next week. The defense is nearly finished cross-examining Michael Cohen, Trump's former fixer. During Cohen's testimony, the defense tried to undermine his credibility by highlighting inconsistent statements that he made. The defense may call rebuttal witnesses, but they say the testimony won't take long. Court is not in session today.
A person is in the hospital this morning after an apparent road rage shooting in Nash County. This happened on West Tarboro Street around 6:15 last night. That person was taken to the hospital and they are expected to live. Right now, no one's in custody.
4 people are also in the hospital after a crash on Highway 54 in Durham. Sky 5 was over the scene near Farrington Road, that intersection there. Officers responded around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. They found 2 cars had crashed. One flipped over. 4 people went to the hospital with minor injuries.
The last phase of the project to complete 540 is underway. Phase 2 of the project is a 10-mile stretch that will run from Knightdale South and go through the Auburn community to Garner. Officials broke ground on this part of the extension yesterday. This link has been long in the making, dating back to 2009. It will complete the outer 540 loop around the greater Raleigh area, through Morrisville, Apex, and Holly Springs, and then connect that phase to Segment. Now, this portion of the highway is expected to be open by 2028. Thousands of booths will be set up at Fort Liberty today. How they honor fallen soldiers and the upcoming events that will help people remember.
And we now know where the next Women's World Cup will be played. The decision that came in overnight after the U.S. and Mexico withdrew their bid to host.
And new this morning, we have a level 2 risk for some severe thunderstorms in our southern counties for tomorrow. We'll also have the chance of storms this afternoon as well as Sunday. I'll walk you through what looks like a stormy weekend, at least in the afternoons. Coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:12. I'm still watching this itty-bitty little shower that's popped up here in our northeastern counties. Over here, just north of Bailey in Nash County, we're seeing this tiny little shower. It's been hanging out there for the last hour or so. Our better chance for showers and thunderstorms comes after lunchtime, especially around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and into the evening. And then we'll repeat that again on Saturday and Sunday. But Saturday, we'll have a better chance for severe storms. We'll walk through that coming up. Beautiful sunrise here over downtown Raleigh as we take a look from Dix Park, 66 degrees, and we're clear in Fayetteville too at 63. Durham, same thing, just lovely conditions out there. We are seeing clouds in a few places, but a quiet start this morning, good for exercise. Now, later on this afternoon and evening, you may be dodging some storms if you're headed out for a run.
All right, Elizabeth, here in the WRAL Traffic Center. If you're getting ready to head out, you'll be pleased to know that we're just having a really quiet start to the Friday morning commute. No major crashes to report in the capital city or Durham or Chapel Hill. Just free flowing in both directions in all the major thoroughfares this morning. To that end, let me give you an opportunity to see what's going on in I-40 and Aviation Parkway. Particularly if you have an early morning flight, this is what you want to see. Traffic flowing great in both directions.
All right, thank you, Ken. President Biden is blocking the release of audio from an interview that was part of the investigation into his handling of classified documents. In a letter made public on Thursday, Biden said that he will use executive privilege over the recording of his interview with special counsel Robert Hur. The federal prosecutor declined to recommend charges against in the case, but he did write in his report that the president could portray himself as an elderly man with a poor memory.
Today, thousands of booths will be set up at Fort Liberty to honor fallen service members. The booths will be at Hendrick Stadium as a backdrop to the Post's Run, Honor, Remember 5K. This is video from a previous year on your screen. Each booth represents a service member killed since 9/11. The 5K itself will take place tomorrow morning at the stadium. No registration is required. It kicks off tomorrow at 7:30 a.m.
And today marks 70 years since the Supreme Court ruled to outlaw racial segregation in public schools. President Biden met with family members of the plaintiffs from that historic 1954 Brown versus Board of Education case yesterday. He thanked them for taking a risk and pushing back on Jim Crow. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona says that more action is needed today to ensure schools that serve a majority of Black communities have adequate resources and funding.
North Carolina state officials are cracking down on drunk boating. The North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission's annual On the Road, on the Water, Don't Drink and Drive campaign is underway. It's centered around the two busiest summer holiday weekends, Memorial Day and Labor Day. Officers will conduct sobriety checkpoints and raise awareness about drunk driving and boating. And we are 70 days 10 weeks from the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics. Many athletes are still competing to make the U.S. Olympic team, and that includes in women's gymnastics. This weekend, the biggest names from the sport are competing in Connecticut. 3 women's Olympic all-around gold medalists will be going against each other. That includes the most decorated gymnast of all time, Simone Biles on your screen, as well as Suni Lee and Gabby Douglas. This morning on Today, a look ahead to this key stop on the road to Paris. Today airs at 7 o'clock right here on WRAL.
Wake County wants your opinion on the transit investments you would like to see. The Wake County Transit Plan survey is now online. About $700 million is available for transportation projects over the next 10 years. Responses to the survey will help identify community needs and priorities.
New this morning, the next Women's World Cup will be played in Brazil. International Soccer's governing body made the decision hours ago. Brazil beat out a joint bid from Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The U.S. and Mexico also had a joint bid to host, but they withdrew it last month.
Well, this weekend is filled with family fun, including 3 local festivals, Chris.
Let's get started off with a festival celebrating African and African American history and art in Durham. That's the 54th annual Bembe Cultural Arts Festival. It's happening from 1 to 7 p.m. at Rock Quarry Park. This year's headliner is Monica, and WRAL is a proud community sponsor of this event. Admission is free.
And tomorrow and Sunday, the annual Artsplosion Festival is in downtown Raleigh. WRAL is a proud sponsor of that one as well, which includes a giant art market with more than 170 artists from around the country. Admission is free.
A new entertainment destination is opening this weekend in Raleigh. Jaguar Balera will open this Sunday at Raleigh Ironworks. The new spot is a place where people can wine and dine and play. It will have private karaoke rooms, games, and 73 self-pour taps. The menu is a mix of Mexican and Southern cuisine. And for more events this weekend, you can go to WRAL.com and search the words out and about.
Yeah, a lot of people will be out and about this weekend. And whatever you're doing tomorrow, make sure you have the umbrella handy. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner showing us what the radar looks right now. Just a couple spotty light showers.
These have been fairly persistent, but they are tiny. We take a look at Dual Doppler 5000 radar, and you probably can't even tell what I'm talking about until we zoom in on it. Over here in the southwestern corner of Nash County, there's just a little sprinkle between Spring Hope and then as you head down toward Wilson. So teeny tiny little sprinkle, but we've seen that just holding steady for the last several hours. It is likely to dissipate by the time we get to at least the next several hours. Once the sun comes up, it should help to dry out that little damp patch. Okay, so new this morning, we have a level 2 risk for severe storms in our southern counties. We still have that level 1 for the rest of the viewing area. Damaging winds would be our main threat, but again, in this level 2 risk, we could see a few isolated tornadoes. Likely to be mid to late afternoon. We'll have the potential for thunderstorms today, tomorrow, and Sunday. So let's get to it. We're mainly clear this morning across the bulk of the viewing area. After lunchtime, we start to see some scattered storms developing. The coverage won't be terribly widespread for this afternoon. Just some isolated thunderstorms that'll pop up starting mid-afternoon all the way until around midnight or so. It looks like we're going to be fairly dry in the morning. Now, tomorrow's likely to be cloudy. There's 6 a.m. and we'll pause it again at lunchtime. You can see there's not a whole lot of coverage for the morning hours. Lots of festivals going on. So if you were hoping to be out and about, get there as early as you can, because once we get to 3 o'clock, we start to see some storms developing in our southern counties, and then that lifts up across the region 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And again, some of these could be strong to severe, so you want to make sure that you have a way to get weather information. Download the WRAL app and set alerts to let you know if there's severe thunderstorms coming through. Then on Sunday, we'll have another round of scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening, but it's not as likely to be severe. Pretty start here in Goldsboro, partly cloudy, clear in Apex and Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant, and of course in Fayetteville, there at our newsroom. We have an 80% chance of showers and storms this evening and tonight, and another 60 to 80% late Saturday, 60% on Sunday. Then we dry out a little bit. So for Artsplosion, it's likely to be on the cooler side, 78 Saturday and only 70 on Sunday with those afternoon and evening thunderstorms. How much rainfall total for the weekend? Most likely about 1 inch to 1.75 inches. So some significant rainfall. We do still have some abnormally dry conditions in our eastern counties, but we also continue to have above normal potential for rainfall all the way through the end of May. So hopefully we'll catch up soon. You know, you hate to see it on the weekend with so many things going on. The Bembe Cultural Festival in Durham, and of course we have Artsplosion and Got to Be in Seeing, and a bunch of other things as well. But you know, next week it looks dry with a warm up, Ken.
All right, 6:20, Elizabeth. Weather and traffic every 10 minutes and happening now. We want to give you a live look at I-440 and Lake Boone Trail this morning. The westbound lanes coming towards us. You see this time of the morning, traffic is beginning to pick up quite a bit, but it's flowing nicely in both directions. No problems to report. I want to check our live traffic sensors this morning, just all around the triangle. We're just seeing some really brake tapping going on, just a little bit that we just showed you in that northern section of the Beltline right there. But for the most part, all the major routes are delay-free this morning all across the triangle.
All right, thank you, Ken. The start of Caitlin Clark's professional career is getting a little bumpier. The tough performance she had in her first game in front of a sold-out home crowd.
And it was a memorable night for music fans at the Academy of Country Music Awards. The highlights and the big winners. That's coming up in What's Trending.
And just in case you missed them, here are your winning lottery numbers.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
Well, there were some performances to remember at last night's Academy of Country Music Awards.
Ken Smith is here now with what's trending. Hey, Ken.
Chris and Michelle, let's get first to tonight's big winner. We're talking about Lainey Wilson. She won Entertainer of the Year and Female Artist of the Year. We're talking about moments to remember. A memorable moment was Jason Aldean's tribute to the late Toby Keith, and Randy Travis also making a rare surprise appearance. He helped announce the award for Song of the Year that went to Jordan Davis for Next Thing You Know.
So many great performances last night. So many great winners. Lainey Wilson, obviously the big winner. She says, look, I've been doing this for 13 years. So to stand up here and hold this award, it means everything to me. So it's just so great. So much talent in one room.
Yeah, it's so good to see Lainey Wilson getting rewarded for the hard work she's put in over the years.
Finally getting the recognition she deserves.
She deserves it.
Yeah.
She does. Well, a best-selling romance novel is making its way to the big screen. Blake Lively will star in the film adaptation of It Ends With Us. Here's a look at the first trailer. The movie is hitting theaters August 9th.
You know, that is one of Christy's favorite books.
Really?
I sent her that.
Your wife, Christy?
Yes, my wife, Christy, and she didn't respond. I sent her the trailer, and she said nothing. I was like, baby, this is like your book. This is your book. So I don't know, but maybe when she actually sees it, she'll be, oh, I'm excited now.
And Blake Lively is
Blake Lively.
Amazing. Yes.
Looking forward to that.
Thank you, Ken. Well, one of the country's most popular plays, Disney's The Lion King, is now at the DPAC. Chills. This Tony Award-winning Broadway show will run for 4 weeks. The stage production is an adaptation of the 1994 animated film. The Lion King will play Tuesdays through Sundays until June 9th. For more information and tickets, you can go to dpacnc.com.
Still haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to seeing it this season. A new documentary with never-before-seen footage from the Blue Angels opens today. It follows them through their grueling training and show their schedule that they have for an entire year. You can see this at IMAX theaters starting today, and it will stream on Prime Video starting May 23rd.
New safety measures are going into place at UNC Chapel Hill. The changes that are happening in response to the shooting on campus in August.
And new this morning, we have a level 2 risk for severe storms in our southern counties. The timing is likely to be afternoon and evening tomorrow. The impact, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes. I'll go over the timeline for you coming up.
And attention passengers, it's going to be a busy summer travel season at RDU, where you are looking live this morning. The record-breaking numbers of people that airports are going to be seeing across the country fly this year.